Hello friends, welcome back to Azure 204 Lab 6 Exercise 2. Here is the lab scenario, and in the last video we covered Exercise 1. In this video we'll work on the Exercise 2. It says obtain a token by using the MSAL .NET library. Okay, so that being said, let's begin the video. Let's go to the Microsoft Learning Portal. So here we are. Exercise 2, it says obtain a token by using MSAL .NET library. So for that we need to create a new project. So we need to go and start the VS Code, open folder, and then we need to go to the lab 6. Okay, and from there open this terminal and open the command prompt. Enter the following command, hit the enter to create a new .NET project named graph client in the current folder. Okay, let me just copy this one. Let me start VS Code. Okay, so here first I'll close everything, close all. Let me just go and open folder. Now I have to go to the lab 6. So here's lab 6 starter graph client, open. Okay, let me open a new terminal and I'm gonna paste the command here. It will create a .NET new project here inside graph client. Okay, so I think we are good here. .NET build. Perfect. Let's go back to the browser. Now next thing is that at the command prompt we need to add this particular library called Microsoft.identity.client. So here is the command .NET add package Microsoft.identity.client dash dash version 4.7.1. I'll simply go and run the command. Let me just clear this one first. Okay, so this particular command will add the package to our project. Okay, so now we have the package ready. Let's go back. Next thing is we need to run the .NET build command just to make sure that there are no errors in the project. So I'll simply run the command .NET build. So it looks good. Let's go back. So here we are done with the task 1. Now second task. Task 2, it says that modify the program. Okay, so we have to go to the VS Code. We need to open the program.cs file and delete whatever is there, and then we need to add following line of code to import Microsoft Identity Client. Okay, so I'll just copy this one. I'll go back here. Let me just open the program.cs, which you can see here. I'll delete everything and I'll paste this piece of code here. Okay, let me just clear. Okay, so we have added the import here. Next thing is that we need to add few more line of code. Add using directories for the built-in namespace. Okay, I'll paste it here. Save. Go back. Next is that we need to introduce a new class called program. Then we need to create a method, the main method. Okay. Next, here we need to go and introduce a new variable that will contain the client ID. Okay. So let me just go and put the variable here. Now update the client ID and I'll copy this tenant ID as well. Okay, I'll take this one, I'll paste this. So now we need to update the values. So if you guys remember, I copied these values. So here is my client ID. I'll copy from here and I'll paste the client ID here. And here is my tenant ID. So I'll paste it here and save. We are good. Okay, so we are done until here. Now observe the program.cs. So your program.cs class should look something like this. Few imports, class, two constants and one main method. Okay, but we need to make one change. We need to put these values outside of main. Okay, so we are good here. Now next thing is that we need to, now task 3, it says obtain a Microsoft authentication library token. So this is the important one. Okay, let's first go and create this particular variable inside main. Save. Let's go back, and what it says in the main method, perform the following actions to build a public client application instance by using the static application builder. Okay, so we need to add this particular class inside the main method. Okay, let's go. So here is property, and here is my public client application builder. Okay, now we need to update the previous line of code by adding another line of code to use the create method of the public client application builder class. So we need to add this one, or I can do myself like dot create. It's not working. I'll paste it here. Okay, so this is how it goes, and here we have supplied the client ID. Okay, hopefully. Now update the previous line of code by adding another line of code to use the with authority method of the abstract application builder class, passing in the enumeration value Azure Cloud Instance dot Azure Public and the tenant ID. Okay, so now we need to add this particular piece of code here after this. Okay, so this is how it is. Initially we have this particular class public client application dot builder, and then we have used create, and after that we have used with authority, and here's we supplied two parameters, tenant ID. Let's go back. Now we again need to update this particular piece of code by adding one more piece of line which says with redirect URL, and inside that one we need to supply the localhost. Okay, so this is good. Now we need to add this one. So what I will do is, let me just bring this down, and so it should look good as well, and here I'll copy, and here we have supplied with redirect URL is localhost. Okay, now update the previous line of code. Now we need to add the build method of the public client application. Okay, so let's go back, and here I enter dot build. This is how it looks like, semicolon. Okay, save. Let's go back. So update the previous line of code by adding more code to store the result of the expression in the app variable. So if you remember, we initially created a variable here app, right? So we'll assign the result of this particular thing into this particular variable called app. Okay, now let's go back. Now in the main method, add the following line of code to create a new generic string list array. Okay, with the value of user.read. So I'll copy this one, and let me just go back. So inside main method, I'll put it here. Let me just bring this down. Okay, so here is a list called scopes, and here we are passing user.read. Okay, now in the main method, add the following line of code to create a new variable named result of the authentication result. Okay, so in the main method we need to go and create another property, so I'll put the property here. Okay, in the main method, add the following line of code to access the app variable app, then acquire token interactive, and we need to pass scopes. Okay, so I'll just copy this one, just go, I'll put this one down here, app dot acquire interactive scopes. Then we need to make use of execute async method of abstract acquire token parameter builder class. Okay, and then we need to update the line by adding more code to process the expression asynchronously by using await keyword. Okay, so let me just go and update the code here. I'll just copy this line. So this is how it should look like. Await and execute sync is there. Let me just take this down actually. I'll put this on here. Okay, perfect. Now we need to, next task is we need to store the results into the results variable, and in the main method add the following piece of line console.writeLine method to render the value of the authentication result.access token member of the console. Okay, so let me just go back. We'll accept the output into the results variable, and here we are going to print the result access token. Okay, let me just go back. So this is how your final main method look like. You need to have the top variable, then app, then your list, and inside there your application results, and the output of this entire thing should go in your results, and that is what you're printing here. Now you need to save the program. Okay, perfect. Task 4 is to test the application, so you need to run this particular command. So when you are going to run this particular command .NET run, it will open a browser for you, and then it will ask you to sign into your Microsoft Azure account. Okay, so let's follow me here. I just dot, sorry, not there, here in the terminal .NET. Let me just run the build command just to make sure things are good. Okay, we are good. Now I'll run the code .NET run. So this piece of code should open a browser window, and it should ask us to log in our Microsoft Azure account. Okay, so that you can see here. Click on this one. Now it says that this guy is asking for the permission required, that you need to have permission to graph app. Remember, this is the one that which we created. Okay, now let's go back to the, here it says, so in the browser window you will automatically open the permissions requested web page. On this web page, perform the following actions: review the requested permission and select accept, return to the current running VS Code, and then observe the token. Okay, so as soon as I'll accept, right, I will see a token accept. So let me just go back to the VS Code, and here is, oh, this is the token use thing, right? Okay, so that's it. So in this exercise, you acquired a token from the Microsoft Identity Platform by using MSAL.NET library. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.